everyone wants to know, what is the best diet out there? There's vegan, there's paleo, there's keto. I'm going to tell you what is great about these diets, which are all basically variations of elimination diets, what's also maybe not so great about them, and what I recommend instead for the best diet for you. First off, let's talk about how they help you heal. There's definitely some really good things about every one of these diets, and as elimination diets, they're all removing foods that could be hurting you. It doesn't matter really what type of diet you do, if you start getting really structured with how you're eating and focus on what you're consuming, you're probably going to feel better. But there are certain aspects of each one of these diets that are really beneficial. For the vegan diet, it is going to remove some possibly inflammatory foods for people. Things like dairy. Some people, especially with autoimmune disease, might even react to eggs. It's also going to remove not so healthy animal fats. If you're having, deli cuts and hot dogs and sausage and bacon and non-grass-fed meat, you're not going to be eating any of those things on a vegan diet. It can really help you to upgrade the quality of fats that you're consuming and to remove foods that you could be sensitive to. A vegan diet is very heavy in fruits and vegetables, as is a good, well-rounded paleo diet. Paleo diet can also be good at feeding the microbiome with its emphasis on plant-based starches like sweet potatoes and parsnip and all these root vegetables. It's going to remove grains and legumes on a paleo diet, so that's one way it's different than the vegan diet. And it's also going to include animal proteins, but it still removes dairy like a vegan diet does, which again can be a more pro-inflammatory ingredient for some people. The paleo diet is going to remove a lot of the added processed food kind of stuff, so that's always good for our health, to get rid of corn syrup and added gluten and things like that. A lot of people can feel a big reduction in their inflammation with a paleo diet because it is gluten and dairy and corn and soy free. And then there's keto. Keto is a very low carbohydrate diet. So it is going to remove grains like corn and gluten, and that can be really good for inflammatory levels. It's also, as a low carbohydrate diet, going to help to balance out blood sugar and help people with blood sugar issues to become healthy again. And the ketones themselves are anti-inflammatory and they can be very beneficial, especially for our brain health. While all of these diets have their therapeutic properties that can make you healthier and feel better, they do have some shortcomings, and that's why I don't exactly recommend that you follow a pre-written diet long-term. Some of the shortcomings that they all have in common would be their effect on your microbiome. Your microbiome is all the living bacteria and microbes that live in your gut, and they feed on what you're eating. The more diverse of the food that you're eating, the more diverse your microbiome is, and therefore the healthier it is. Think about it like a rainforest. You want to have all the different species and all the variety that you can. When you're cutting out whole categories of foods for a long period of time, you're going to reduce that diversity, and that's not as good for your overall health, since we all know that the gut is the center of the health. Somehow find a way to say that in like every video I do. It's also not that great to do it long term because there could be some nutrient deficiencies. Again, when you're cutting out entire classes of food, whether it be all meats and eggs, or it be all grains, all legumes, or it be all things with carbohydrates, you can then cut out the nutrients that tend to be in that class of foods. Things like certain minerals or certain types of proteins, certain types of prebiotic fibers. And those deficiencies over a long period of time will become more and more deficient, and that could have a negative impact on your health. The last reason why I don't recommend doing this long term is that it's not customized to you. You are a unique individual, and maybe what you have going on, how your body was genetically made, doesn't quite interact with all the fats that are on keto in a healthy way. Maybe you don't have the right enzymes to process that well. Or maybe you don't make the right enzymes to digest all of that plant fiber and plant starch from the vegan diet. Your body is unique, and therefore your diet should be as well. Wouldn't it be great if we could test for our uniqueness and we could just do a one-time thing and it shows us what we need to eat, and then we say, okay, I realize I shouldn't be doing these long-term pre-made plans. Let me do this unique one that this test says I need to do. Sounds so nice. but it's not evidence-based. There is developing evidence for doing something like a stool test and saying, okay, this is what your microbiome looks like. You should eat these foods because of these results. However, there's not really research saying when you follow those results compared to someone else who didn't follow those results, and we track you guys together for 5 years or 10 years, these people do better in their health. It's a little early to be using that kind of test, but maybe one day we'll see. But we also are not just our microbiome, we are our genetics. So why not do a genetic test that says, this is how your body was made, you should be eating this diet. Same thing, our genes can change, and we are more than just our genes, we're also our environments. So we cannot use a test to figure it out. Then how do we figure it out? What is the best diet for you? The best diet for you is going to have three main components. The first one is a diet that you have chosen. I talk all the time about how important mindset is. When we do not have the right mindset, we stay in a stress state, and stress will be the bane of your health existence. It's not going to allow you to thrive and be at your best. Our mindset is, nope, I can't have that food because my plan says I can't. Then that feels very disempowered. That feels like you are just submitting to something else and you're not getting to make the choice for yourself. But if you say, I'm not gonna have that food because I know it's unhealthy or I know it doesn't make me feel well, now you're making a choice that feels really congruent with what you want out of your life and feels like you're deciding it. And your body says, all right, that sounds great. You're taking care of me. Rather than, oh man, I can't have what I really want, or I need to restrict myself. We want to have a diet that promotes a healthy lifestyle and a healthy mindset at the same time. We also want a diet that is very customized to what we have going on at that time. So it might not even just be customized to our body, but also what's going on in our lives. Maybe during the summer, you're really active and you're playing tennis and you're going on long walks and all of that, and you need a little bit more carbohydrate. Maybe during the winter, you're sitting around a lot more and you don't need as much carbohydrates. Even during a woman's menstrual cycle, the changes that happen hormonally can change what we need and how much we need from our food. We also might have times where our gut's been more upset and we've had illness and we need easier to digest foods, and we maybe don't need to eat as much protein. So we want to be able to listen to our body and to figure out what it needs based on the season that we're in or what our goals are, and change our diet accordingly. And along those lines, that means being intuitive, which is the third component of a good diet for you, where you can really listen to your body and figure out what it's saying and what it's wanting. You can change it based on your appetite, on what you're craving. Your body knows how to meet its nutrient needs, and will have you craving more veggies or more meat or whatever it is that your body feels like it needs more of. We want to be able to listen to those signals so that we can really give our body what it needs so it can thrive the best that it can. I am all about being practical. What does this actually look like to follow a diet that is customized and intuitive? How can you actually figure out how to nourish yourself in the best way on a day-to-day basis? What we do in our practice is follow an elimination diet in the beginning. And we will customize that elimination diet based off of what we found at your evaluation. We have 8 different meal plans that we use as a starting point to get someone feeling better. You might follow an elimination diet, even if it is something like a vegan or paleo or keto, as a starting point to address your specific health issues. And through that process of eliminating and starting to feel better, you might find some foods that are on the plan that you also need to eliminate based on how your body's responding to them. Then, once your inflammation is down and your energy is up and your joint pain is less and you're feeling so much better, you can start doing reintroductions. That might be 3 months or 9 months down the road for you to get to that point of doing the reintroductions. Once you start, you reintroduce one food at a time and you listen to how your body responds to it. You can also look at labs to see how your body is responding and use this feedback, this data, to know what's best for your own particular body. This process is a lifelong skill that you can use to know what your body needs in any season of your life. As I mentioned earlier, your body and what you need changes based on what's going on in your life. You will be able to take this process and apply it down the road so that you can continue evolving your diet, making it as expansive as possible when you're feeling well, make it as anti-inflammatory and eliminate more when you're not feeling well, to keep your health as good as it can be the rest of your life. You are in control. You can decide what's best for your body. You can use these pre-made diets as a starting point. And then from there, listen to what you need, customize it to what you've got going on and what your goals are, and figure out what is the best way for you to eat. That will allow you to thrive as much as possible. And I am challenging you to find an elimination diet that you can start and just see how good you can feel. Thank you so much for being with me today, and I'll talk to you soon.